stream. I'll change my music so that I don't get copyrighted. But yeah, you know, this will be my last day playing for like a week because I'm gonna be heading out here after today on a brief vacation. But for now, we're just gonna manage this very messed up simulation engine and try to enjoy ourselves. So here we are. Let's try to have some fun. Let's see. There we go. Just setting up a few of my panels. Sorry, I know it might be a little bright. Rather you be able to see me than not. Yeah, look at this. It takes 20 seconds for a single minute to pass in the game. You guys proud of that? Colossal Order Paradox? How about you just chill out in your efforts to make a bunch of money? For now, stop spreading yourselves too thin, and get this simulation engine working properly. How about that? How's that sound to you? Sound alright? Hope so. I don't know what you want me to do. There's only so much a guy like me can do. I am restricted to hanging out and building infrastructure while I wait for this simulation to move. Hey, frozen balls. A thing that shouldn't exist, the Federal Reserve. Central banking. The only power I have over that, though, is to tell you that it shouldn't be there, and to do what I can to advocate for its destruction and erasure. That's the power I have over that. It's pretty much true with all of us. Okay, Frozen balls, no, dude, don't do that. No. You do not say that for an entire race of people. I don't care if you're joking, trying to be edgy or whatever, that is messed up. Well, thank you, I guess. Mewing gesture. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, no, I'll pass on that. To answer your question, no, I do not mew. I do not. That's probably the first time I've ever heard anybody say that. Generally, people think that I have a fairly moderate to even high-pitched voice, so it's interesting that you think otherwise. I'm 34. Well, thank you. Try to take care of myself, even though my body tries to resist me. How old are you? So you are brand new adults. Congratulations. You can vote. You can join the military. You can effectively run your own business if you'd like. Go to college. A lot of those things you can do before you're 18, but you get my point. Alright. In the woods, huh? What do you do? Do you live in the woods, like in a cabin or something, or are you just there hanging out, like for a vacation? Okay. Get yoked, my man. Get yoked. That's the way to do it. I'll be real with you. This world is very full of degeneracy right now and desperately needs strong men. Desperately. So, every push-up you do is progress in the right direction. Bully in my CLG? I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean by that. Are you talking about a bully as in a type of animal, or a bully as in a bully at school? I don't know what CLG is. Ah. Oh, bully at my college. Gotcha. Hey. You gotta deal with bullies. Do your thing. Sure, you know just as well as I do, there's a crap ton of them out there, and much of the time it's because they've got a bad home life that they're doing what they're doing. That checks. That checks. Now I'll tell you, if you hadn't jumped in to defend your woman, then she would have lost a lot of respect for you. So I appreciate what you're doing there. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Well, you know, I like to follow the old adage that bitches be crazy. I'm just kidding. But only partially. Only partially kidding. What'd you do? Get yourself a nice rock star. That's what I'm drinking right now. And it sounds to me like you are a guy who's genuinely trying to improve yourself in some way, shape, or form, so I can appreciate that. So if you're wondering how I am in the state physically that I am, which was very kind of you to say it earlier, I appreciate that. I box 5 days per week, like box. And I also take this thing which you may have heard of, may have not, called beta-ectosterone, which is completely above board, completely legal. It doesn't do any negative things to your body, but it basically makes you more robust and increases your stamina and your strength. It's what you might call bug testosterone. It doesn't adversely affect us as human beings in any way. It just makes us stronger. So if you want to look that up, I use the brand called Thalacy, Thalacy. It's a very, very good ectosterone. Probably the best I've ever found. Even better than intelligent elephants. But that's something you might want to look into, and the boxing definitely broadens out my upper body a little bit. Thanks. Well, you got to be able to defend your loved ones. You know, your friends, your family, your loved ones. And if you don't know some type of martial art, at least a little bit, you're doing yourself and them a disservice. Especially in these very scary times in which we live. You need to be a strong man. I'm not going to show the abs. I got them, but those are for me, and that's where it's going to stay for now. Yeah. Can't fight them all. But you'll be ready in the case where you have no other choice. So I'm actually a military veteran. I was an Air Force officer from 2012 to 2019. And I did some unarmed combat while I was in the military, and tried to get myself trained up and useful for defending my friends and family. Now, obviously, the military, especially in the United States, has kind of fallen apart the last few years. It's become kind of a joke, and it's really tragic. Really, really tragic. Because without them, I mean, our institutions that leave us with at least a handful of strong men fall apart on us, and who's left, you know? Well, thanks, Rosenwald. Just trying to be there for people. And it's up to them whether they want to be like you on God. I don't know what you mean. Oh, I do. Okay. Gotcha. Took me a second there. Again, it's very kind of you. Yeah, it's up to... Unless if you're thinking you're just another guy. Which is exactly what you want. You want to surprise your enemies with how much of a fight you put up. Oh. Come on. Gosh dang mouse. There we go. But yeah, when it comes down to it, you know, it's up to the viewer whether they want to actually take what you have to offer or not. And if I have no viewers on any platform, then I guess it's not a very in-demand thing that I provide. I don't take offense to that. In fact, in a lot of ways, I take it as a compliment. because he's definitely a guy in the manosphere who's trying to encourage men to be strong. Even if I don't necessarily agree with his execution, a lot of what he does and says is good. So, and really the only negatives that I know of about him are that he does not follow the typical Christian ethic when it comes to the female species. And that means one woman, one man. He's kind of a player in that regard. But the women love him. The women that are with him are totally, they accept that sin that he carries out, and they're okay with it. Kind of like King Solomon being forgiven by God, for having 1,100 wives. So while I don't necessarily agree with his philosophy in that regard, at the same time, a person like him needs to have a lot of kids. Because he's very strong and very well put together. And yes, very rich. I wish I had his money. I generally agree with the Elon Musk approach. He's got kids all over the place. Because he's a multi-billionaire, he can actually take care of them. Yeah, he's a G. I'll say this, Frozen Balls. Some people are legitimately attacked by oppressive forces that neither you nor I have any conception of. And I will say that I'm definitely being attacked in that regard. Can't prove it, and that's the point. But let's just say I've made some really good investments that didn't pan out because I was attacked. Alright? I'll just put it that way. If you're wondering what I'm doing on the game right now, I'm just building infrastructure because the simulation the engine is just not moving right now. It's going super slow. So this is what I'm resigned to do. You don't need to put those assets on your name, like every other billionaire does. Yeah, and a lot of people, the assets that I do have, that I've managed to save from the attacks, I'm pretty good with them. They're not, they're secret for the most part. Not entirely. It's almost impossible to keep them entirely secret, especially with the Federal Reserve and the central banking systems of this world. But I still have a fair amount, even after the attacks. But the attacks don't stop. You do something that the Cabal doesn't like, they're going to let you know they didn't like it. But they're going to make sure nobody else knows. Because they want you to suffer and be alone. They are garbage, my friend. If you consider doing law, you can defend yourself. I have had to deal with litigation more than my fair share. I'll just say that. Wants you to suffer, but what if you join a political party? I mean, if you want me to get political, sounds to me like you're not a doofus in that regard. So I'm not going to get super political, but I'll say that there's a certain political party out there that if I were to join it, they would anoint me. And it's definitely not something I'm willing to do. I'd rather be attacked incessantly by garbage so that I can make it obvious who and what the people are, make it black and white, than join the enemy. I will not do that. If we can't compete them, then why not join them to make money? And the moment you join the government who would attack you, oh, still the government. Still the government. I know from experience. Yeah. So I have a friend who told me of a story back, something that happened in her life about like 15 years ago, right around then. She was trying to get into the Army, and she was in basic training. Thank you for the follow, I appreciate that. And she told me that one night she was taken into a medical facility along with the rest of her platoon, and they were taking what is it? I forget what they're called. Basically, the rank before private, because they're all untrained. Taking them into the medical office one at a time to meet with a psychologist. And this psychologist, essentially, what they were doing was they were putting them against a battery of tests. Hooking them up to a lie detector and subjecting them to a scenario where they were watching a person, it was all an act, by the way, suffocating a toy doll baby. And then the person, once they were done doing this, playing out this scene, they would turn towards the trainee, and they'd say, "The baby's dead, I killed it." And mind you, they're hooked up to a lie detector. The patient is hooked up to a lie detector. Then the psychologist would ask them, was a baby actually killed in front of you? And because it was so emotionally charged, they would tell the psychologist that no, of course not. It was just a toy. But their body would say otherwise. They were suggested into a certain brainwashing state from the emotional charge of that situation to where their physical body said that it actually did happen even though it was just a toy. Right? There were only 2 people in her entire platoon that actually passed that test. Her and one other woman. And summarily, about a week later, after they sifted through the results, they kicked her out. Because she was not susceptible to suggestion. Now, susceptibility to suggestion is not necessarily a bad thing. It's what makes us social creatures. It's what's allowed us to survive and to grow and to evolve as a civilized society. But it is biohackable. Which means you can manipulate human beings. Just like when you draw a straight line in the dirt in front of a chicken, it makes them drop to the ground paralyzed. That's a biohack of a chicken. It's the same with us. We are biohackable. And as long as you understand our susceptibility to that, our weakness, you can mitigate it. Government and the military do not want that. They want brainwashable people. And I'm not. Experimenting on human psychology to literally remove the most important elements to make a being of human emotions. Yes, it is indeed very hypnotic. It is. They do. But it's less about being monsters for the rank and file, and more about just believing the mainstream narrative and doing what you're told. We live in a fucked up world, my friend. And that's why it so desperately needs strong men. And strong women, too. That is correct. Or rather, to that point, if demons have emotions, they would be very human. I would instead say, if demons had empathy, they would be very human. Demons very much do have emotions. They enjoy your suffering. They don't empathize with it. They want you to suffer because it's like a delicacy to them. They laugh at it. It gives them a high. They are creatures that, for all intents and purposes, by definition, are parasites. They're parasites. Yeah. And no doubt there are quote-unquote humans that are in fact demons because they get pleasure out of suffering, causing suffering to other people. So, I will say though, I have seen gore vids. Yeah. Ugh, people knew the type of things that the cabal has done and does behind the scenes. Stuff that people like Alex Jones are aware of. If they had known, if they knew, there would be revolution in the streets tomorrow or today. And the entire world would be burned down. It's that bad. That bad. We are being manipulated by garbage. %, frozen balls. 100%. So all this for me to say to you, be strong, my friend. The world needs more strong people. The world collapses, at least they can go to you for guidance. That's really what makes a true leader. When your leaders fail and fall, when your institutions that you used to love and trust fall apart and you're left all alone, when you keep going, despite all that, that's what makes you a leader. You have to be emotionless in the face of evil. Because if you're not, they enjoy the pain that they cause you. Why do you think angels in the Bible are always so placid in their affect? Whether they're dealing with humans or demons. They might get angry, like Michael versus Satan when he's trying to save Moses' body. But they will not show suffering unless it is with people who actually can empathize. When it comes to a parasitic demon, they just need to be annihilated. So being emotionless in the face of evil is a requirement to survive. Aside from the anger aspect. Anger can be useful. So hey, that's not a bad thing that you're emotionless. They don't have emotions, but they're God's slave, and the Bible says as humans are God's children. Well, that's an interesting way of putting it. I'll say that an angel is not a slave, but rather an entity that has already chosen their allegiance. They've already made their decision. And that decision is to follow a certain mission, which is to serve God, which is to serve life, to serve existence. They believe that existence is, or living, life is worth living, and they are going to continue living that way. They've already made their decision. They're not slaves. They just have fealty. Human beings have free will because they have yet to make that choice. Their allegiance has yet to be set. So, an angel can't move a finger without God's will, but beings do the total opposite of what God wants them to do. So, again, that's an interesting way of putting it. How to elaborate on that? So, I would say you're not incorrect. But the thing is, to do anything. No, I'm okay. I'm just wondering if people would want to listen to this conversation. I'm certainly enjoying having it. If we are to do anything that perpetuates existence itself, the story, makes something new, advances life and love, then that is something God wants. The only thing that is contrary to that is to affect nothingness. So while you're not wrong, there's essentially nothing that God won't let you do, so long as what you do is not nothing, or trying to affect nothing. Yeah. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to the day where I don't have to deal with these garbage entities anymore. Because I am tired of it, as I'm sure you are too. The only reason we're still here right now in this battle is because there's still people that can be saved. And that's what God meant when he said angels would be on earth before Revelation, basically wrestling with the devil to reduce the amount of suffering as much as possible before the apocalypse occurred. We're trying to save souls, right? All of us. All human beings are trying to save souls. And the longer you can wait, the longer you can endure. 100% frozen balls. The longer you can endure, the more souls you save. But all stories have to come to an end, as you said. Unless you're in eternity, in which case your story goes on and on. But in finite time, all stories come to an end. God gave us a very spiritual power that even Lucifer himself needs to possess an individual if he wants to interact with the human regime. Demons always need a medium or a vessel. Yeah. They do. Because if the demon takes a physical form, then the nothingness that they represent is centralized in a physical object, and they are therefore no longer nothing. And they have defeated their own general philosophy. So, they want us to defeat ourselves, and the way they do that is by corrupting our souls. And the worst way to do that, I mean the most effective for them, is to basically cremation of care type of shit. If all human turn to God, humanity will win, and the devil would even surrender himself. But no one would do that. See, it's interesting what you say there. So I'm writing a novel series right now. I'm in the process of getting the first one published with Page Publishing. I talk exactly about that. And how in linear time, this time around, not this time. We're not going to be able to save everybody. But through constant repetition of new timelines, new realities that never existed before, you save more and more human souls until eventually you get to the very last one. And then it's just you and the devil. And when it gets to that point, you're wrestling with him directly. And either you convince him, or he's gone. So, if you're wondering, the book that I'm writing, the series, it's called Black and White Odyssey of Eden. And the first book is coming out soon. The only way Lucifer actually has any power over us is because we are so ephemeral. If we had an eternal mindset, nothing in this world would be something that we would desire. Thank you, Frozen Balls. I appreciate that. Any and every follow is appreciated. And know that every word that you say is magic. So when you speak to others, speak words of power to them. And try to minimize your own personal biases and desires. Thank you, Frozen Balls. I appreciate that. And look purely at what they need, so long as it's not going to hurt you. And Chiron, stop. Try to take on that angelic persona, if you will, of a flat affect, being placid and tranquil in the face of people's inertias. If you can do that, and just be there and give them words of power and encourage them, you're going to maximize your positive effect on this very, very tainted world. And personal relationships are the most important thing. Because what effect do you or I have on the political framework of the United States? As an example. Very little. Whether you believe the 2020 election was fraudulent or not, one person is in charge of the executive branch of the United States government, and we were one vote in a sea of 160-something million, right? We have very little effect on that. But where we do have a lot of effect is in our personal relationships. And those, like ripples, affect way more than we know. Ripples in an ocean. Sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Frozen Balls. Elections are very much planned. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's not an election, it's a selection. Coronation. Yeah, so atheists used to like make fun of the Christ, and sometimes even my parents. He was very vulgar and abusive with my drunk language, skinny as hell, so no way I could fight him. I soon made him my friend, and simultaneously we became best friends. Sounds to me, he ever turned religious after that? Never. When it was a year after I left school to end. He was going downstairs to the cafeteria. Someone pushed him from the staircase. He got severely injured. That someone was me. Okay. I bet he doesn't know who it was. So did you do that to get back at him for all the stuff that happened? No, we're still friends. Was it an accident? That time something kicked inside. Oh, gotcha. Okay. It's karma. So it was neither intentional nor an accident. Put it on purpose. Yeah. I hear you. Frozen balls, you are not alone in that regard. There are a lot of people that do that. But you got to be careful with that, though. When fighting evil, you don't want to become it yourself. And while justice is insanely important, that's a dangerous situation to take justice into your own hands like that. So just be careful. I mean, imagine if the guy broke his neck. I hear you. I hear you. Very Old Testament-y. Well, I don't know the situation, so it's not something that I would judge you on. I would simply say be careful with it, that's all. In striving to defeat evil, we don't want to become it ourselves. But if you were looking towards God when you did it, then there's ways to... God can make a lot of things work, I'll just say that. For sure. This is a very complex and important lesson. Lucifer betrayed God. He was the most beloved angel. Yeah. But then at the same time, you know, hearkening back to these very tough topics, God's all-knowing. No, you're all right. Maybe somebody will get something out of this. God's all-knowing, you know, ever-present, omniscient, all that stuff. He knew that Satan was going to betray him. Therefore, did Satan really betray him? Don't know. A very tough question. Same question for Judas having betrayed Jesus. Jesus knew and told everybody that, or a lot of people, that Judas was going to betray him. He knew. Does that automatically condemn Judas to burning in hell for all of eternity? Well, the thing is, when Jesus came back after his 3 days in hell, and he was asked about this from his disciples, he said, don't worry about that, in not so few words. What happened to him is not something that you should be concerned with. When you are required to do something, it's very difficult to say that you are condemned to hell if that thing is evil. If Satan wouldn't turn evil, there'd be no one to punish the evil spirits. You seen Judas used to be a pure and religious person? Oh, he was a thief. He was human. He had his flaws just like any other human, just like any other one of the apostles, you know? But Jesus, ate with tax collectors and prostitutes because they're the ones that needed help. Yeah. But these are tough questions. They're questions that even somebody like Father Mike Schmitz, a very well-known Catholic priest online, he runs a YouTube channel called Ascension Presents. Even he says, among religious scholars, this is one of the most profound questions. Did Jesus forgive Judas? Or God? Did God forgive Judas? Is Judas in hell? Because he was required to do that. The prophecy could not have been fulfilled had Judas not done what he did. I don't have the answer for you. But I can tell you what the theologians say. They're pretty much aligned with the fact that he wouldn't have been automatically condemned to hell for all eternity. And this also ties into the thing known as cardinal sin, right? Or unforgivable sin, which is to sin against the Holy Ghost. And Jesus is God, and God, the Father, and the Holy Ghost are all the same thing. The thing is, if Jesus wanted Judas to do what he did he really do the unforgivable sin? If you had a full-fledged control over the world economy, would you let the Great Economic Depression to happen? If I had full-fledged control over it, it wouldn't have to happen. But that's the thing. It doesn't matter what my capacities are. It doesn't matter what my experience or wisdom or lack thereof is. I would never have that capacity given to me. The world is run by Satan, or rather by the parasites that I was talking about. In eternity, and this is something that I'm also writing in my story series, in eternity, the most logical form of governance is a kingdom. A kingdom. Not a representative democracy, not a democratic republic. A kingdom. But because we are ephemeral, and we live short lives, and we forget everything that we've learned from generation to generation, that requires us to pass the torch to somebody else with every passing generation. Which means that the best form of government for the ephemeral, for those who are temporarily local, is a democratic republic. But in eternity, the best form of governance is a kingdom. And in that form of governance, the king does in fact know best. He's been around for the longest. He has the most wisdom, the most experience, usually the most intelligence. Or he will defer to those who do have a higher ability to logically reason things out. Defer to them. Because he'll know when to do that. Or she, whatever. In eternity, the best form of governance is a kingdom. In our world, it is a democratic republic. What would be your final goal of you and the global economy in your hands? Like, what would you want to do next with it? Well, I would obliterate all central banking. Just gone. Erase it. I would obliterate the central intelligence agencies of the world. Um, I would allow people to live the lives that they want to live so long as they don't try to force their will upon others. It's pretty libertarian, I would say. It would be technically a kingdom, but an anarcho-libertarian kingdom, so kind of like a protectorate. That's the way I would do it. If there were any serious questions that you did not have the answers to, such as would Judas go to hell for all eternity, then you would go to the higher authority, which is the king. But only for those questions that you cannot solve yourselves. You solve problems at the lowest level possible. But again, I would never have that power. This is not the world in which we live. I'm just a guy. Do you have a hypothetical plan to rule over the global economy? Oh yeah. I do. But it's a plan that is constantly evolving and that has been in development for many, many years. It's like I've had a certain very extreme education because of the black and white nature of the world in which we currently live. So it's not all bad, don't get me wrong. It's just frustratingly difficult. You're right about that, Frozen Balls. But it's not a matter of me actually thinking I do or do not have the capacity. I do have the capacity, just like I know that I have everything that a woman could want, right? Doesn't mean the woman's actually going to take me up on my offer. Hasn't happened yet. As long as they know that it's there, it is in their hands whether they're going to do anything with it. So far they haven't, and I don't think they're going to. And you just deal with that. Nope. I do not. You know why? Because I'm not, what's the word? An egomaniac. At least I certainly try not to be. Most people do, they hate on political or religious leaders and get pissed how they have lots of audience, but they never try to observe their manipulative tactics. But I do, and you should too. scheming only works in the temporally local. It only works in the short term. In light of eternity, all secrets are known, all truths are known, and truth wins out. I don't live for the ephemeral, I live for the eternal. Which means I don't really have much of a place here. I wish I did, but I don't. And it's not like I've given up or anything, it's just, I know my place. Go for it, Frozen Balls. President for a day, I would probably maximize my executive power to abolish every single department. At least the ones that I have power to abolish. I would get rid of the IRS if it were in my power to do it in that day. It is an illegal, unapportioned tax, a direct, unapportioned tax, which is illegal based upon the Constitution, should never have been made. We're not even legally required to pay it. And yet, because we're so in this suggestibility phase, we just kind of blindly accept it. If I had the power to get rid of the Federal Reserve, I would do that, but I don't think I'd do my first day in office, my one day in office. Yeah. Those are some things I do. Yeah. That sounds correct. Because I wouldn't want to do it. I follow the Phil Labonte philosophy in that regard. It's got a lot of... well, let's go ahead and say... have you ever seen the movie Gladiator? Maximus Decimus Meridius is given the power to be Caesar by Marcus Aurelius. And he says, with all my heart, he does not want it. I'd pretty much be in the same camp. I would affect the change I want to affect as much as I can in a single day, and then I'd be out of there. That's very kind of you. I'll say that that social engineering is not all bad. It can be used for good. But that's also a similar situation to what the Dark Knight Batman did in the Dark Knight movie versus when he was trying to defeat the Joker and he made that spying mechanism. Yeah, he did it to catch the Joker, but then he got rid of it after that. Yeah. So it'd be generally quite populist. And really, that's pretty much where Trump is. He's pretty much a populist. I honestly think that even JFK would be, for the most part, or not JFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would, for the most part, be a populist. I don't think he's a bad guy. He's got some misguided philosophies, but he's not a bad guy. Know how Canadian government is inviting immigrants in a large number like it's a marriage university, and you know how those guys are ruining their culture? What would you do if you were a Canadian president? Oh, well, that's a... you just brought up a really good point that I hadn't even thought of, because you kind of just asked me off the cuff, which is fine. I love it. Don't get me wrong, we're having a good conversation here. Yeah. That's a similar situation to what I would do in the United States. Day one, I would deport all the illegal aliens I could find. It's an active demolition of the Western world, or attempt to demolish the Western world, that these people are doing. They're trying to conduct some type of very not so pretty Great Reset. Yeah, it's, if you did not legally immigrate to the country, you're deported. It's that simple. You broke the rules. Ban immigration. Well, that has precedent in history. It has happened several times before, where there's been a moratorium on immigration in the United States. And that's definitely something that you could do. And I would not be opposed to the idea. It may very well be that the parasites in power are very close to actually losing it, and they're just trying to ruin as much as they possibly can for the next person in charge before they're booted out. And that's why all of this is happening. In fact, that is my guess. How would you impress the big companies who were enjoying their cheap labor? Well, essentially, if your employees can't afford to buy your products, are you really helping anybody with the stuff that you're making? Sure, you got cheap labor, but eventually that's going to trickle through the economy. And that cheap labor is not going to be able to buy what you're making. But in time, it will balance itself out. So in that regard, that means follow the rules. Don't cheat. Big companies are not cheating by taking advantage of the situation at hand. They're playing out their fiduciary responsibility. But those who illegally immigrated to the United States are cheating. In time, it'll balance itself out if you actually make them, reap the consequences of their illegal actions. Novel concept, right? Frozen balls. But again, I don't think the government should be involved in any of that shit. The government has, at least for the United States, a couple, basically two things that they were made to do. Regulate interstate commerce and provide for the common defense. It's pretty much it. Be able to raise an army when you need it to defend your borders. And then, make sure that the states can actually trade with one another. And that's what I'm saying. Get rid of the Federal Reserve and the central banks. Oh, also, in case you weren't already aware, and I'm pretty sure you are, the nominal tax rate under the Roman Empire 2,000 years ago was 2%. Under feudalism, it was 10%. Before the institution of the central banks and the IRS, in the United States, the tax rate was around 2%. Now, it's 25%. What the fuck? Because of through gradualism, we've been made to accept this. And now we are essentially working as slaves for the central banks. It's garbage. It's all nonsense. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying here, my friends. That's why I would never be made president. I don't know. Maybe it's for the best. So I don't want to deal with that crap. Yep. Very true. This mouse needs a freaking charge. Um, are you a United States citizen? Were you born in the United States? I ain't got anything else better to do, my friend. I'm just hanging out playing some video games. Well, if you weren't born in the United States, then no. You literally can't. Though we would probably be better off if a person like you could be. Because you have at least some semblance of an understanding of how our system works. C'est la vie. Speaking in generalities and normal distribution and stuff like that. This battery is dying. Thank you. Hey, yeah. Maybe you could be like a King David, you know? Like I said, I'm dealing with oppression by forces that we cannot point out, other than to say they're demonic. So my ability to become a quote-unquote elite even is horribly hampered because of that. So I'm just going to live my little old life. That's a great way of looking at it, frozen balls. Let me go grab something. No, my dogs are here. They're just hanging out. I have a couple border collies. And they are spazzes, but they're good dogs. They are my pooch pooches, as I say. My pet name for them. What are you doing right now, like professionals? I don't have a job. Nobody will hire me. I own a lot of real estate. I'm a real estate professional. But in terms of like a W-2, I don't have one. Humans were made to be productive, and I'm finding my way to be productive. Something manly to own. Yeah, it definitely is a nice little gig, I'll tell you that. But again, I'm having difficulty with it because I'm being attacked. I'm following the best business practices and still managing to have a tremendous amount of trouble with it. It's alright though. I'll make it work. I have looked at the stock market. I own myself an Index Universal Life account. I've got a decent portfolio. I do some investing like that. Mine is mostly passive, though. I don't do. I've tried leverage trading before. Again, one of the reasons I despise the central banks, because they allow for that to happen and for people to cheat. So I paid for that pretty pretty extensively. Thank you, Frozen Balls. I do appreciate it. And I wish the best for you. You know, I hope things end up working out the way you want them to, and the way you want them to work is providing the most positivity and aid to the world that you possibly can. A world in desperate need of strong men. Believe me, Frozen Balls, I know the feeling. I do. I was blessed in that I did find a handful of people when I was younger that didn't mind these types of conversations, but only a handful. They are hard to find. Old guys have appreciated me the same way that calls me a strange kid too. There's nothing wrong with being strange. You know, it's the geniuses out there that are typically seen as the insane ones, and they're the ones that make a big difference in the world. So, you're good, don't worry. Why don't you think you participate in family gatherings all that much? Yeah, I do agree with you. We have a very soft generation. But you know the typical way it works. Strong men make good times make weak men make hard times make strong men. Sucky that it has to work out that way. But again, us being so ephemeral, we don't really have much of a choice in the matter. Which is pretty typical for people, for thinkers, which it looks like you are one. I do too. And many people in my family have it, but we muscle through it. You just got to remember that it's not about you. It's about how you can, be there for others. And if buttheads are going to judge you negatively, then they're not people you want to spend time with anyway. Excuse me. Let's put headquarters there. But I'm really good at shifting my personality, like I have LGBT friends, based friends, bullies as my friends, and even female friends because of my personality, and based on a particular group and their ideas. I act way too natural, like I am one of them, to gather new information and their point of view that it scares me. I was kind of the same way when I was in high school. I didn't have a social clique. I just sort of floated between them, and they all seemed to get along with me. It was generally nice. It was generally kind to people. And it sounds to me like you're trying to understand people better, and you're doing it in the right way. You're trying to understand people better so that you can empathize with them or sympathize. You can make their lives better, and therefore the world better. And remember that personal relationship being at the bedrock of everything. Sounds to me like you've got a pretty good prioritization schema. So don't be too hard on yourself. Each time I talk to someone, I can make them get comfortable with me in no time, but from general introduction shit switches to personal questions real quick. Oh. So are you asking the questions, or are they just opening up personally? Like, about deep stuff? Like childhood trauma? reframing the new perception of what to view the life in a better way, some wants to die earlier, is wholesome, wants to be imposed. What's that? No, they open up themselves. I just act like I'm a submissive guy, so they won't see me as a threat. Instead, they look I'm a weak guy, so I won't dare to tell anyone else to get them mad. So that way mentality works for the most people, I'm telling you. There's a couple paths you could take in that regard. First one is, as you're talking about, being meek so that they'll open up to you. And then the next one is, being pretty articulate and kind of exhibiting a high degree of wisdom, intelligence, logical thinking, and stuff like that. And people will open up to you when you do that because they're seeking somebody to understand them. And there's a dearth of those types of people in their life. Or you can do both. Be both submissive and very clearly a wise, intelligent person. Basically what psychologists do. At least what they're supposed to do. If they're a good psychologist. Which again, we have a dearth of those. A general lacking of them. Career counseling session. What they say, counselor or psychologist? Guy and I had a healthy argument on flaws in our education system and what would be best for a guy like me in the future, but my dad told that's not how I was supposed to act. He was there for my counselor. Yeah. Oh, how we're supposed to act. What a funny concept. What a funny concept. So the highest population I've gotten in a city and city skylines too so far is 610,000. So if I can get past that with this city, then I consider it a success. The career counseling is very helpful for lost kids. It can be. Yeah, very silly concept. We're all lost in some way, shape, or form to one degree or another. Just make the best of it that you can. My dad was shocked how I was not nervous because for him I'm a socially awkward guy. I would say that's a pleasant surprise then, that you were not socially awkward. The way I see it is under-promise and over-deliver. That way expectations, or reality, is always better than expectations. And in your case, it seems like it was. He thinks I have no life, but he doesn't know how many friends I have. But I don't usually hang out with them. They help me with academic work, and I do the same. Yeah. Ooh, 420 employees. Blaze it. I tried drop shipping and referral marketing too. I have done a part-time internship for a fintech company side by side when I was in high school. Really nice. You're learning actual business stuff. That's actually useful, something useful to know. You know, not the gender studies classes that you get in college nowadays. There was a guy in my school, he had a lot of money on his dad. He could subscribe a cloud Bitcoin mining setup. He earned a lot from that, but the guy didn't know how or where to put that money. to get returns. Instead, he became an ascetic, emo, party guy. And soon got included in gambling, and now that he's 19, he's broke. Oh my goodness. Well, he's only 19, so he's got a lot of time to build up that net worth and nest egg. So it doesn't mean he can't try again. This time be a little bit wiser with this Bitcoin if he decides to get it. Hey, Action Art, how you doing, bud? Good to see ya. Yes, Bitcoin is a very good idea. If you don't have any, get some. He wasn't addicted to weed, he still had a lot of time since he's still a teenager. Yeah. The only danger with weed is that it makes you very lazy. There are occasions where it can burn your brain out if you do too much of it, but you have to do a lot. But he's so young, it doesn't mean he can't fix that now. Go out and do productive things with his life. So, I've been here for almost 2 hours now, and I think my population's gone up 4,000. That's how bad this simulation engine is. Look at how fast these guys are moving. It's going in slow motion. Alright, let me put it in a little more perspective. Look at this guy, this person walking. Same goes for masturbation. It causes lack of sleep and too much fatigue, but you become utterly worthless and you fall for the rat race trap in order to survive. Yeah. I'll say that anything in excess is not good for you. Even too much water can kill you. Too much air can kill you. When it comes to, yanking it, probably shouldn't do it really at all. But if you are gonna do it, it shouldn't be like all the time. I had a kind of a frenemy in high school who talked about that a little bit when I was in high school. He would tell people that he was doing it like 4 times a day. And I know that's not even that much compared to some other people. And yes, food is another addiction, Action Art. It's a dangerous one. One of the most dangerous nowadays. Seeing as how obesity, or what is it called again? Metabolic syndrome, is one of the leading causes of death in the Western world. So, not good. Not good. It's not about excession or excess, it's about addiction. We can say we're addicted to air or water. Yeah. Not being able to live your life without it. But you're not really living your life with it either, if you're addicted. Tough situation. Too much sugar as well. Sugar is, at least the processed type that we're talking about here, pretty much a poison. But our bodies just seem to not be able to get enough of it. Water can boil you, freeze you, drown you, but you still need it to survive. Another thing to keep in mind is the same water that hardens that will boil an egg, softens a potato. So it all depends on who you are and how you react to it. God, for this simulation game. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Frozen Balls. I guess I'm okay at it. I just wish that the simulation actually worked at the appropriate speed. This is just ridiculous how slow it's going. These guys are driving at about 5 miles per hour, and the speed limit on the road is 45. I don't know. I think Colossal Order and Paradox Interactive really should be ashamed at how bad of a product they put out. This is not good. I'm tempted to go back to City Skylines 1, because at least in that game, when you get to, 400,000 population, it'll still go at 1 time speed, which is better than 0.2 like this game. Hey Nameless, good to see you, buddy. Just so you know, Nameless, I'm hopping off here in about 5 minutes. Maybe you should go back to City Skylines 1 and maybe make a city paradise. My geometric history. That's in a different city, Nameless mapping. And, Action Art, you said that right when I was talking about it. Potentially going to City Skylines 1. I'm probably going to here in the near future. Maybe when I get back from vacation. Because this is honestly... is basically unplayable. I frequently have sleep paralysis, and each time I can hear whispering. The weird thing about it, that each time I have it, the whispering gets clearer, and my sleep paralysis demon says he's the angel of death. You know the angel of death is Saint Michael the Archangel, right? He's the one that walks you through the valley of the shadow of death so that you'll fear no evil. So that's actually a modern day misinterpretation. People think that the angel of death is the devil or Lucifer. And unless Michael and Lucifer are the same person, yeah. Read the Psalms of David and you'll see, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Talking specifically about Saint Michael. And this is the same Saint Michael that is there during the apocalypse to duke it out with the devil. But like every time that entity says the same thing. Yeah, Action Art, they are not. Yeah, St. Michael's a G. He's got your back. servant to Christ. By the way, I am in Turkey for vacation. My internet and send speed might be low. Oh, you're good, man. I'm just happy to have you here. Thanks. They're both border collies. The mama dog and her puppy. Atlas and Chiron. Once I had a weird incident, so I was working on assignments, and I used to skip sleep for 3 days, and 4th day I just fainted in the study table. You can say that once I fainted on the study table and I woke up all tripping, that I could see shadowy projections. I think I'm just mentally sick. Well, if you are concerned about that, definitely do seek help. Because I will say, you're obviously a very intelligent individual. High levels of intelligence and mental instability go hand in hand much of the time. So if you are concerned about it, don't be ashamed of it, but definitely seek help and be aware so that you can get it taken care of. Because when I tell you this world is in desperate need of strong men, I mean it. But if you're not all there mentally, you can't be there for people. So make sure that if you think that's actually a problem, that you seek help, and don't worry about it. Just get the help. All right? But that's it for me today, guys. As always, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Again, I'm going on vacation for this next week. And I'll be back on the 12th, I believe. I'll see y'all soon, okay? Bye-bye. Yeah.